Welcome to our team coverage here on KRDO News Channel 13 of this severe weather day. As you know, if you're just now joining us, to catch you up to speed just a little bit, Highway 24 is closed in both directions, east and westbound, due to a mudslide between Cristola and Cave of the Winds. So if you live on either side, the bookends of Woodland Park or Colorado Springs, you're kind of stuck for the time being. Here's some video that we took earlier before the road closed, but clearly a mudslide did come over the road there. At times they just had the westbound lane closed, but now both east and westbound have been shut down.
Earlier today, a short time ago, we heard from Stephanie Sierra, who was at the Fountain Creek RV Park along Cimarron near 31st. That was under the gun for a long time. They nearly had to evacuate residents. We understand that was not the case after all, due to the water finally receding. She joins us live now to give us a look at all the problems they're experiencing out there. Stephanie?
As you mentioned, this is right between 30th and 31st Street. And notice the water here. It's really rushing heavy, but this is actually, believe it or not, significantly better than what we were showing you just about 30 minutes ago. That video we sent in, it was a constant rush of water. I want to show you guys over here, though. We're going to walk and show you the debris so far. Hundreds of people lived here at Fountain Creek RV Park. You see police are situated here helping residents who are trying to get out of their homes. But as you can see, significant debris in this area. They are working, and again, I want to reiterate, they are encouraging people to evacuate at this point.
Here's video of that water just simply rushing into the bridge there at 31st Street. You can see that as a comparative. Lots of water just about an hour ago where Stephanie was just standing. The water had receded just slightly, but as she just mentioned, just because it looks as though the threat is over because it's raining less out there does not mean it's completely over. They had a huge deluge of water up in Teller County as well. You can expect that water to come rushing down Fountain Creek. So this goes for those of you who are watching us also in the Pueblo, Fountain areas. All of that water is headed your way.
Speaking of Fountain, we have our Chase Golightly, who's been out and about in that part of El Paso County over the last hour or so. Chase joins us live. Chase, so where are you and what are you seeing right now?
We're in the countryside neighborhood that's about southeast of Fountain, and it's just walls of hail. I'm in almost more than ankle deep of hail right now, just walls of it, about pea size, and people are actually, shoveling that hail right now. It looks like Christmas in July down here. People were saying that they had trouble actually driving through it.
Incredible scene there,
shoveling
Chase.
in shorts there,
goodness.
A different scene there. It appears Chase Golightly and Fountain at kind of a point of confluence right now, where a lot of the hail has kind of floated down,
to those drains,
and it's almost its own worst enemy right now. It can't drain out because it's kind of sitting on the street there, and it needs that last little push to kind of get it to go down the drain. Hopefully the temperature is such that it will melt before too long, and they can get their street back there in Fountain. Unbelievable.
Yeah. We want to go out to Stephanie Sierra, who's live off of 31st, that bridge there between Colorado and Highway 24. And Stephanie, I understand you do have an interview with either police or fire.
Yes, Heather, I'm joined here with David Halstead. He's actually a police officer with Colorado Springs Police, and he also works with the city's Office of Emergency Management. And David, can you tell us, we have been showing our viewers for the past couple of hours now just how significant this flooding was in this area between 30th and 31st Street. Can you describe to us kind of the evolution just in the past 30 minutes?
Golf ball size hail is possible out of this storm, and again a new flash flood warning until 8:15 this evening. So we are tracking at this point in time at least 5 different flash flood warnings out there right now.
Just to recap kind of what's happened this afternoon, a massive storm here started in Woodland Park, marched right down Highway 24, sending some powerful mudslides, rocks, debris, and a lot of water down Fountain Creek, down the highway. To our knowledge, Highway 24 is still closed from Cave of the Winds up to Woodland Park for exactly this reason. There's a lot of cleaning up to do. And on that note, there's a lot of areas in Colorado Springs, right here along Fountain Creek, in the Manitou Springs area and Colorado Springs area as well, that will be facing a long recovery from today's storm.
If you live in southern Colorado, chances are you felt the impact of today's storm in some way.
We begin with a quick overview of the storm's path and what it brought through our cameras and yours. Heavy rain and hard hail first hit Woodland Park. It left backyards blanketed in white and floating up to drivers' doors in the Walmart parking lot.
The real problem was the runoff from all that rain. Some of it slid right down Highway 24, forcing drivers in Cristola to exit the road entirely.
The rest of it went into a swollen Fountain Creek captured here in Green Mountain Falls. The combination of rain and hail on the highway forcing some drivers to lose control.
A 12-mile stretch was later closed on both sides south of Woodland Park, mostly due to several feet of mud and rocks that came crashing down the hill onto the pavement.
Downstream, visitors in Soda Springs Park in Manitou Springs watched a flash flood take over a normally calm creek. Fountain Creek also pounded this bridge leading to an RV park in Old Colorado City.
It prompted police to call for a bus and ambulance in case a full evacuation was needed. Luckily, it was not.
Can you see out that way?
The people in this Colorado Springs home watched water flow down the stairs into their basement.
The high water overcame several cars here on Uinta as well as here on 8th Street. And just as the water moved downstream below 8th Street into the Security Widefield area, so did the storm itself.
It brought winds powerful enough to knock down trees and power lines and dropped so much hail, residents were left scooping it up with snow shovels.
But just when you thought the storm was winding down, a new round of rain hit Fremont and Pueblo counties, flooding streets and threatening homes and businesses. It was the final stop of the storm that just wouldn't quit.
Incredible images there, and there are still flash flood warnings in effect at this hour. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Stacey Garvilla to tell us where those storms are right now.
Thank you so much. Yes, we are continuing to track a number of flash flood warnings right now, and most of our flash flood warnings are actually in the eastern plains right now. You can see this entire area in the blue here is where we have some minor flooding. Then within that, there's some flash flood warnings. We'll take you to La Junta, where a flash flood warning continues until about 10:45 this evening. We have a flash flood warning that spans through Los Animas and McClave. This goes until midnight tonight, and also through the Lamar and Holly area, a flash flood warning until 12:15. We are continuing to watch a brand new flash flood warning just issued for the Canyon City area. Once again, we are seeing flooding concerns here due to another round of storms moving through. We're quiet right now in Pueblo, but there's been storms through the Colorado Springs area as well. Still seeing some heavy downpours on areas that were dealing with that hail and rain earlier. Flash flood watch continues until midnight this evening. We'll have much more on the flash flooding concerns coming up in just a few minutes. Bart and Heather.
Stacey, thanks. Families forced out of their homes, water pummeling streets and bridges, loved ones searching for one another. That was the scene today as flash flooding tore its way through the neighborhood near 31st Street in Old Colorado City. Stephanie Sierra was in the middle of it all, tracking the devastation at the Fountain Creek RV Park. She kicks off our team coverage tonight at 10. Stephanie?
Well, Bart and Heather, it's hard to believe nearly 4 hours ago as I was walking through this RV park. In some areas, I was knee deep in murky water. Now, I want to step out and show you. This scene may look familiar as we were showing you earlier, that heavy tide gushing through, almost overcoming this bridge, forcing families and loved ones to seek shelter in what turned into a disaster zone. It was feelings of fear and panic for KP and Tara Guy.
I'm gonna go through anything to get to them.
The two separated from their son on the other side of the rushing water that divided Fountain Creek RV Park.
I was freaking out because my son was freaking out.
Their family just one of the nearly 200 others trying to find safety. As heavy water pummeled through the creek, nearly overflowing. The sound so loud it pierced the air, gushing out debris.
We looked outside and the creek was all the way up. It was rushing rapids.
Amanda Holiser described watching parts of giant trees float down the river as hail pounded on her trailer.
Extremely scary.
That same fear shared by Jesse and Ariana Larkham, who nearly lost all of their belongings from the rushing water.
Ours was a river on the other side of the fence too, so it just started swooping down with it.
While a heavy flow of water continues to pour down the mountain, these families are counting their blessings they have something to come home to. Now, many of the families that did evacuate here have since been able to return home to evaluate any potential damage. We're live here in Colorado Springs. Stephanie Sierra, KRDO News Channel 13.
Stephanie, thank you. And not all of today's severe weather was over the Waldo Canyon burn scar. A Fountain neighborhood familiar with hail damage was hit hard for the second time this year. News Channel 13's Chase Golightly is live there with that area's 1-2 punch. Chase.
Heather, the hail is still stacked up into mounds, as you can see right here. People in this neighborhood plowing their driveways to be able to make it through. You can see that the hail is still above ankle-deep level right now, about pea-sized hail. When we were speaking to people in the neighborhood, they said this is something that they've never seen before. They say it was definitely an amazing sight. Hail packed the streets in this Fountain neighborhood, making it look like a winter wonderland in the summer.
I think it's amazing. It looks like it snowed in July.
Kids enjoying the unique sight as neighbors came together to shovel the mounds of hail, something they didn't think they would have to do this time of year.
I don't expect this in Fountain in July. It's just not normal. This is out of this world.
Pretty hard to clean up.
The sea of hail sticking together, walls of it stacking up to be more than a foot high.
It was up past the tire wells on the vehicles. You had no time to move anything.
Whoa, slow down.
At only about the size of a pea, it was not as bad as the storm that caused significant damage in June. It did still cause damage to cars and homes.
See, the windows are all out of the front. The roof is leaking.
The closets on the outside have flooded out, so we do have some flood damage at this point.
Making these homeowners once again have to deal with the consequences of Mother Nature. Here we go. Now, they are saying that this hail is going to be sticking around for a while, and we are seeing a decent amount of rain coming down right now. The whole neighborhood is surrounded by water. Mix that with the hail that's piled and left over and the rain. They say that that water is going to be sticking around for days to come. We're live in Fountain tonight. Chase Golightly, KRDO News Channel 13.
Just sheets of rain still at this hour. Chase, thank you. Highway 24 is now mostly reopened tonight, though you will still encounter one spot near mile marker 291 where traffic is alternating. Earlier this evening, mud and debris had motorists stranded, including our own Colleen Sikora, who had a front row seat to the chaos and the cleanup effort.
It's bucket by bucket. That's how CDOT is cleaning up this mudslide at Highway 24 north of Cascade. As we pulled up around 5 o'clock, few people were getting through and water was gushing off the Waldo Canyon burn scar. One lone dozer was managing the mess.
I was just like, it's crazy. You know, you don't expect something like this.
As you can see, it's not just us that's stuck here on the side of Highway 24. Several other drivers sitting here waiting. Some even tried to find another way around without much luck.
Go to Chipita Park, Monument Falls, send you back to Woodland Park.
Dave Cooper was stuck here too, trying to get home to Fountain.
I just hope that it doesn't get any worse. My wife was just telling me that it's supposed to be raining all night. So, I mean, this could go on. And
as we waited, there wasn't a car in sight, leaving just bucket by bucket to dig us out of Highway 24. Colleen Sikora, KRDO News Channel 13.
And not just Ute Pass, but traffic within Manitou Springs impacted by that flooding today. On Highway 24 heading towards Manitou Avenue, cars faced enormous splashback and puddles, making it nearly impossible to drive. Fountain Creek overflowed for about an hour and a half. It took paramedics about 35 minutes to arrive at the Garden of the Gods Resort, an RV park, to check up on people there. This video shows the amount of water under the RVs, trucks, and campers. One man we spoke to says he underestimated the flash flood dangers.
I saw picnic tables moving. The water was up to the door handles on the door at one time.
Then when the water started rising, we were on the end camper down there where the water was coming in the worst. And we kept watching to see how high it was coming up on the steps. And when it finally reached the second step, we decided it's time to get out of the camper. Plus, I was worried about my pickup.
And this is video of drivers stuck between Cave of the Winds and Woodland Park. Those roads are expected to all be open around 8 p.m.
Colorado Springs also saw some damage, though not as bad as the western part of El Paso County. City leaders say they saw the rain coming and dispatched crews right away. Captain Brian Vaughn with the Colorado Springs Fire Department says they worked closely with police and emergency management to keep people safe. With roadways flooding, they had 32 police officers on the west side of the city conducting traffic. Fortunately, Captain Vaughn says there haven't been any water rescues in Colorado Springs, but if it comes down to it, they are prepared.
We still have a task force of rescue swimmers and swiftwater capable individuals staged at 31st and Safeway in the case of an unforeseen weather event again.